Hazel, heel. Good girl. Good girl. Now sit. Good girl. All right, well, hello, Anna. This is Mike over here at Animal Training Development Center, and today we have Hazel, and she has been with us for her board and train program, and we've really enjoyed getting to know her. She's got tons of personality, and she's a lot of fun, enjoys playing with a variety of different dogs, and we're getting her out for field trips, and just wanted to show you what we've been doing and some things for you to practice on your own. She is a very young dog, and so at 8 months old, she doesn't have a whole lot of life experience yet. So everywhere we go is kind of a first time maybe for her. So we've gone to the YMCA over at Jorgensen's and walked around there. She gets very excitable when she sees other people or other dogs. Very normal for her age, and kind of a good sign that she's outgoing. But she's also a little vocal sometimes. So you'll see in the video we shot for today that when we were walking through Buckner Park, she got very vocal toward dogs, even at a great distance, barking. And I couldn't tell whether the barking was more just excitable, hey, how are you? My name's Hazel, what's yours? Or maybe it was barking that was even a little bit more malicious sounding at times, like she was having some instincts of, just not sure what to think about these other dogs sometimes. Again, very normal for her age. These instincts start to come to surface, and we want to start to coach them. And you'll see the coaching that we did there at Buckner Park today, and the coaching we're going to teach you to do as well. So what we're going to show you first from our lesson plan is this idea of walking on a loose leash without pulling. And we call this the unspoken command because I can't think of a reason why I would ever want a dog to start to pull me. So when we start to move away from a dog, if they're on any length of leash at all, their job is to keep some slack in that leash at all times. So as I begin to walk away from her, you see how she got up and start to follow, and she's keeping some slack in a leash. And this is really what we like to see in a dog that's getting well trained, is that they're constantly aware and connected to you to where they keep an eye on you, and if you start to walk away, they walk with you. And if you stop, they stop with you. So she can do whatever she wants within the length of leash that I give her, but she should never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And we've been working hard at teaching her that, and she's been doing a really good job learning it. But again, she's still very young, and she's going to need a lot of coaching in days to come. Just naturally, with any dog at that young age, need a whole summer of practicing this to get really, really good at it. Sit. Good girl. All right, so we're talking about things that we've taught Hazel to do in her 10-day board and train program with us. And one of them is that walk thing that we just demonstrated, where she never gets to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. We call it the unspoken command because we don't have to say anything. If I start to walk away, she should keep some slack in the leash at all times. And this is just a really good one to have in your toolkit. Take some time to really get good at, maybe a whole summer of just taking her for walks and just keeping in mind that she's allowed to do whatever she wants within the length of the leash that you give her, but she never should get to the end. The way that we help her if she does get near the end is we want to pull in the opposite direction right there, right before they reach the end of the leash. So if they're going ahead of us, we're going to pull backwards. If they're behind us and lagging too far, we pull forward. If they're to the right, we pull to the left, and of course, if they're to the left, we pull to the right. So that's basically an unspoken command. You don't have to say anything to them. Just keep doing that technique. And over time, a dog develops to the point where you can hand that leash to just about anybody, and they can take your dog for a walk without getting pulled. Very nice thing to have. Next thing we showed her was this basic idea of sit. Good girl. There's a difference between the trick sit and the command sit. So the trick sit, of course, sit, is all about treats, and she still gets treats on occasion for doing a good job, but really what we're trying to focus on is more of this relationship now where a dog holds a sit until we tell her she can stop sitting. And so if she stops sitting, we just say the word no, and then we're just going to pivot her head up and her butt down by tugging up and slightly behind her and pivoting her back into that sit position. So as I walk a circle around her, she should hold that sit position. Very good. Until I give that release word. Okay. Nice, Hazel. And as always, when you give the release word, and her release word is okay, it's nice to see a dog that will come to you at that time. They don't have to. You know, some dogs like, all right, when I hear okay, it's break time, and maybe they want to go get a drink of water or do something else, and they can do that. But it's nice to see that tail wag and them come forward to get a little positive interaction there. Sit. If she doesn't, no, sit. Here we go. And now, even if I bounce a ball in front of her, she should continue to sit. Good girl. Good girl. Very nice. Okay. Good girl. And she does like to play with the ball. She'll bring the ball, and we've been playing some fetch games with her, and she's really a lot of fun with that sort of thing. And so we don't want a dog to think that you're not allowed to ever chase the ball, but if I tell you to sit, then you're not allowed to chase the ball, and it could save a dog's life someday. Maybe I throw a ball and it rolls into the street, and I tell my dog to sit as they're running toward it, and the difference between them getting hit by a car and living happily ever after is them just following that simple command to sit. So here again, sit. I'm going to drop this treat now. Got a nice freeze-dried liver treat, which she enjoys, but once she's in the sit command, if that falls in front of her, no. Sit. We're working on her learning to hold that position. I know that's a little harder. Same thing. Nope. Sit. And do one more of those. Okay. Good girl. And as before, I'm not wanting her to think she can never have a treat, but if she's in a sit command and treats start to fall in front of you as a dog, you should ignore those treats until you get the release word, and then of course you can go ahead and have them. So this really is important because this is what we call, distraction training. So distractions are to dog training as weights are to weightlifting. And if you want to get really good shape, of course, the stronger you are, the more weight you can lift. And when it comes to dog training, the better trained a dog is, the higher levels of distraction that they can work through. So you can see working through toys, working through treats, working through other physical type distractions. You'll see like on our walk, we put her in a sit command as dogs walk by her. These are the kinds of things that you're going to want to continue to do. And as much as we can help build a nice foundation and give you some tools to continue to, work on your own, she just is going to need time to develop that life experience that only time can give her. So continue to do these things as you see fit. Next thing we showed her, sit. No, sit, is this idea of the heel command. So you chose your left side, and right now she's in a perfect heel position for me on my left side. Her paws and my feet are parallel with each other. She's close enough that I could reach down and touch her, but not so close that she would be in my way if I tried to turn a sharp left in front of her. So we want her to stay in this position no matter where I go or how fast or how slow I go or what's in our way as we go. So as I give this command, I'm going to remember to lead with my inside foot. And so when I lead with my inside foot, I'm also going to give the verbal command heel. And I'll show you why we do that in a minute. But for now, as I give that heel command, I'm going to continue walking at a slow, steady pace, making sure she stays in position every step of the way. Her right paw should fall in line with my left leg pretty closely, and that way you know they're in the heel position. Good. This is also the most strict command that we teach any dog to do. No matter what their future job is going to be, the heel command is the one that requires the most focus and the most precision of any command we teach. So when they're heeling properly, sit, good girl. When they're heeling properly, they should never be too far ahead or too far behind. They shouldn't crowd you to the right or be too far to the left. They shouldn't sniff the ground, scratch, look away, or even go potty during the heel command. It's really important that they learn that when they're told to heel, they stay focused and in position every step of the way. And this is how you get through dangerous parking lots together, or if there's big distractions coming your way with other dogs and stuff like that, the heel command is the command of choice. Now, this one is way too precise and way too strict to do for real long periods of time right now. So I would say, you're talking maybe, a minute to 2 minutes at a time right now, slowly building up until she can heel for maybe 15, 20 minutes at a time would be awesome. So just take your time building time into your training, because that's the mental endurance that a dog needs to gain. So As dogs go to humans, usually their physical endurance is already better than ours, but their mental endurance is much less than ours. And so we're trying to build their mental endurance by helping her learn to work longer and longer periods of time. That's it. Lay down. Lay down. There we go. And so it's the physical distractions and the mental distractions both that we're trying to build a dog through. And just like a weightlifter, the more weight you can lift, the stronger you are. As a dog, the more distraction, the more time you can work through, the better trained dog you are. So those are some of the philosophies that we've been practicing with her. When we lead with our outside foot, it means that a dog should stay put in whatever position they're in. So I want a dog not just listening to my command, but watching my command as well. And by watching, if I'm consistent, leading with my outside foot when she's supposed to stay put, good girl. My outside foot being my right foot, of course, the foot furthest from her. My inside foot is my left foot, the foot closer to her. Good girl. And you saw that time she got up, even though I didn't say the word heel, but because I led with my inside foot, she knew that that meant she's supposed to get up. Good girl, Hazel. What a nice job. What a nice job. She should be sitting automatically. There you go. When you stop at the end of the heel, she should sit, and she knows that. She's just a little slow at getting there right now, but it's important that she learn that we don't stop the heel command until we stop as humans, and she sits. And now she's done with that heel position. Leading with my outside foot. Good girl. She's staying put very nicely. Very good. Inside foot. Yes. Good girl. And you can tell she likes this. I mean, it's mentally stimulating for a dog. It's kind of like you or I doing a crossword puzzle or something. You know, they kind of get a kick out of this interaction. And there you go. Good girl. Good girl. The next thing we taught was this idea of lay down. Lay down. No. Lay down. There you go. And this one is usually the hardest one for dogs to do because symbolically, down has a lot of meaning. In the wolf world, down is a submissive posture, and our dogs emulate wolves to this day. So all the body languages between wolves and dogs are still exactly the same as they've always been. And so if you think about it, a dog laying down in front of another dog is basically like a soldier saluting a higher ranking officer. They're saying, okay, I recognize you as higher than me in the pecking order. I don't want any trouble from you, so therefore I'm showing you my respect by giving you this salute. For a dog, it's kind of the down thing that they do to do that. So if you have a more dominant dog, and she kind of has a little bit of that, you know, they kind of struggle with the idea that maybe you should lay down for them and salute them instead of the other way around. And if you have a dog that's guarded and a little wary, then they don't want to lay down because they feel unsafe, and therefore they don't have the confidence to lay down if they don't trust you. So it helps develop both trust and respect by practicing your down command. Plus, it's the only one I know that you could tell a dog to do, and hours later, they can wake up still doing. Okay, so the down is a very practical command, maybe almost as practical as this idea of place. So let me show you this one. Hazel, place. Place. Good girl. So we've been doing this one a lot, and this is a great one for anybody having their toolkit. You provided us this beautiful cot, which she's enjoying, and it really is perfect for her. And so when we say place, it only has one rule. She can sit on it like she just did. She can lay down on it like she just did. She could stand up and turn around on it if she wanted to and do it all over again if she wanted to. The only thing she can't do on the place is get off the place. So we've been practicing again the idea of maybe bouncing some balls and dropping treats as she holds the place command. We've walked other dogs around her. I would recommend even getting out vacuum cleaners and stuff like that, making sure that she learns that place means stay there on that place item until they're given a release word or until they're giving another word that they can do instead. So for example, I could easily tell her heel, and of course she can get off of that in order to come into my heel position and follow that command. Good girl. Place. Good girl. You can, if you like to, give her something to have while she's on there. And that's kind of one of her favorite toys, we find. She likes to hang out with that. And so you can provide her with something like that if you want, but you don't have to. The idea is that she's got a little extra energy and she wants to do something instead of just lay around. She can play with that, but as you can see, she's not all that interested at this time. Next thing we taught her is come. Good. Now the come position, there you go, is just like that. It's just like the heel where they're supposed to sit at the end of it. Very important. If we don't teach a dog to come and sit in front of us like this, then they all learn to come and go right past us. And I call those doggy flybys, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure that when you call her, that she comes to you in front like that and sits right there. And I make a habit of going ahead and touching her collar as they come and sit. And that way, if I have to really grab them someday, they don't think nothing about it. So I just kind of reach down like I'm grabbing for them and get them really comfortable with that. So the one time I really do have to grab them for some reason, they don't think twice about it, and that works out really well. Couple of tips for you on the come thing. Okay. First of all, again, being very young, you're going to be practicing this a lot, and you shouldn't even consider doing this off leash anyplace, at least any place dangerous, for some time to come, because she's just going to need a lot of practice to get really good at it. What's fun is you notice she went over there on her place without being told, and she's been doing that, and all the dogs we train end up enjoying that thing so much that I often see dogs lay on their place item even when they're not told to. So that's a great thing to see right there. Once again, another tip with this idea of coming when called is if you just take a step or two back as you call her, it draws them like a magnet. So watch, as I say, come, couple steps, there you go. Very nice. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. Place. Good dog. Very nice. All right. Next, I want to show you a little bit of a healing pattern that I like to do a lot. You notice these two pylons here? We like to do figure 8 patterns, and I like working figure 8 patterns because it helps us practice both our left turns and our right turns. And you'll notice that your dog has to change a little bit of their speed as you go left or right, and we like to see the dog learning those things. So figure 8 patterns are great for this. You don't have to have cones like this. You could have 2 chairs, from your kitchen, or any 2 items, 2 books that you throw on the floor. Just 2 items to work around. Heel, and then again, leading with that inside foot. As I give that command to heel, I'm going to start to go around in a figure 8 pattern between these 2 cones. And you'll notice as I turn right, she has to speed up slightly. As I turn left, she'll have to slow down slightly because of geometry reasons that I can't explain. But the idea is that she has to pick up speed a little bit as I turn to my right, slow down just slightly as I turn to left, and that's what we like to see, is her making those adjustments. Sit. Oh, sit. Good girl. Next thing I'm going to show you is this idea of crate. Crate. Good girl. Crate is just like your place command. She should keep doing it till you tell her she can stop. So if I say, okay, good, there she can come out of there because I said the release word. But if I hadn't, she should stay there even with the door open. Again, young dog, lack of experience, going to need more practice. But you can see she's got the idea and she's doing really very well with this. Crate. Initially, keeping her on a leash is very helpful, even inside your own house. Get her practicing like we are here, and I can walk walk right up with her and give the word. And if she starts to come out, of course, I can pull up and step into her like I did and get her back in there. Okay, good girl. You want to just start to practice until you can do this command from further and further away. It's really nice to get to the point where you could be any place in your house and say that word and she'll go to it. Same thing with your place. From here I say place. Go on, place. And you can see it's right there, but she needs a little bit of help. So 1 step, place, and now she's got it. it's going to be like that. You know, you're going to have to help her a lot. And then as she gets better at it and more confident with it, you'll be further and further and further away, more and more distractions between you. And you can go on like this for, you know, well, really the rest of the dog's life. So it's always a learning process, and your dog's always developing. But if you keep practicing like this, we recommend for 10 days after you get her back that you spend 20 minutes each of those days practicing these things that we're showing you. We did teach her a hup command that I want to show you outside. So we're going to load her into our vehicle here and show you how she's been doing with that. And then we'll wrap this thing up with a little bit of the playtime that she's enjoyed that we took video of, and we'll show you some of her field trip that we have done with her these last couple of days. And we really enjoyed her. Thank you for your trust in us. And I want you to know that you're going to get a card that's got 5 drop-in class days on it. And you can pick the days and times that you want to come for that. Right now we're offering Tuesday nights, 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. or Saturday mornings, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. But you're going to get a card with 5 of those on it that you can utilize anytime you like to help you practice around other people that are doing the same type of training. And me here coaching everybody is really going to be helpful for you to participate in. And you're going to get 1 private lesson with this too. So usually when people first get back, the dog's super excited. We don't try to do the lesson at that time because you've been apart for a while, but we let you guys get home, get kind of reacquainted. And then I like to have you schedule a time with me to where you can come back. We could put the leash in your hands. And again, I can coach you through helping you learn to do all these techniques as well as I am with her. And you guys can really enjoy each other. We've really enjoyed her. And again, thank you for your trust and faith in us. And we hope you enjoyed watching her train. And as always, we'd like to wish you happy training. Okay, good girl. Okay, good girl. So what we like to do is what we call healthy habits with any dog that we train, or any dog I've owned for that matter, is we have healthy habits, how we get in, how we get out of the car, how we go in, how we get out of the house, all those kinds of things. So first thing we always teach them is go ahead and sit. Sit. No, sit. And as I open the door, she should hold that. So we'll see if we can get her to hold as I open. Very nice. And then we're just going to go ahead and tell her, hup. Good girl. Very nice. Just like that. So I don't know how you travel. If you don't have a travel crate like this one, you can load her just into your car. We generally recommend, if that's the case, that you go ahead and invest in like a harness where you can go ahead and fit that and help her with the seat belt, keep her from being too loose in the car and stuff like that. As you get to where you're going, of course, you give her the release word to get out of there. Okay. Good girl, Hazel. Good dog. Very nice. Nice job. And that's about it. I wanted to take a quick minute and show you a couple of tools that we've been using to help coach Hazel and all our training that we've been doing with her. And one of the most important tools, I think, for just about any dog, and all the dogs I've ever had have used these for one reason or another for their first 2 years of development, because it just is really helpful to coach from a distance and in a way that really gets through to them pretty quickly. Simple remote training collar. I'm a dealer of this particular model here at Animal Training Development Center, and I can provide you with these. There are other ones on the market that kind of do the same thing, but basically the dog wears a lightweight collar, and then you have a handheld transmitter, and with this I've been able to help influence her behavior a great deal. When we went out to the park without it the first time, she was very vocal and barking and lunging at dogs and people that were getting close. If we allowed that to continue, then that can develop into a real lifelong bad habit. I put the remote collar on her the very next time we went to the park, and all I had to do was a little vibration button, which basically feels like, you know, the old days when they gave you that thing to let you know your table's ready at a restaurant, and it vibrates in your pocket, let you know your table's ready. That's what it does to the dog. It's not really painful, but it definitely breaks into their thought process. And as soon as they stop, then I release the vibration button and I praise them. So they start to learn, hey, when I see another dog, if I bark, this happens. When I stop barking, it stops happening. And the guy says, good dog. And so maybe I'll just watch the next dog instead of bark at it, which is basically what she's been doing. So that's helping a lot. And we'd like you to consider something like that for your ongoing training. And then the other tool that we've been using, so even though she's a smaller dog, she pulls like a little freight train if you don't have the right tool for that. And so we've been using what is called a prong style collar to help her with her training. And again, I don't consider these a last resort. I consider them a go-to. Every dog I've ever had of my own, once again, has used this for a period of time in their training. And I've always had the philosophy is that we use what we need to use until we don't need to use it anymore. And so when you are going out to the park and you're seeing her trying to lunge out there and chase after leaves and squirrels and birds, and you're right about the birds, by the way, she's really into chasing after those. But I'm using the prong collar in conjunction with proper technique on the line, and it's really getting her to think twice about those types of things. Again, life experience, lack thereof, requires us to keep practicing, and I would encourage you to invest in one of these style collars as well, which we also have and can provide you here. So just food for thought. Take a look at these things in the video and let us know your thoughts. And as always, happy training. All right, well, we're just going to put in a little bit of voiceover for this portion of the video. The day we were out there, in fact, almost every day that we had since we've had Hazel has been, windy and cold and rainy, and this day was no exception. You'll see the hair and fur flying, but she's having fun nonetheless. This is at Buckner Park, one of the local places we like to go, and I've got a intern that is working with me, Topanga there, handling Hazel, and we're working on that just initial rule, never get to the end of leash at any time for any reason. And so all we're doing is trying to tug back right before she reaches the end at any time for any reason. So there you see her kind of catching the end of that leash. And again, a young dog, very inexperienced. She's going to need a lot of this sort of thing in order to get her really good at it. So doing a sit command here and letting her check out some stuff in the park. We've got lots of distractions that she's going to encounter along her way. Now we're starting to do a bit of a heel command, keeping her on that left side and trying to keep her right paw falling in line with our left leg. And again, being a young dog and with a lot of distraction, this will take a lot of time and practice to get her really good at. But the heel command is great to have. I don't use it all the time, but really when we do need to have it, it's great to have there when we need it. And that's usually when there's a lot of distraction or a lot of danger. And so we're practicing here on occasion just to get her in the method of doing it, and then we'll stop and let her go back to doing some walking. Here we got her into a sit, and I believe we're going to have a jogger come by here in a minute. And you can see that she's holding that sit position, doing a pretty good job as I walk around with the camera. And maybe that's not the jogger. There's going to be a jogger, I promise. Bear with me. We're back in that heel command now and just continuing on our way along the path. And like every dog, there's a lot of distractions for them, and especially on windy days, they have great sense of smell, so they're taking in scent from miles away, And I know that that adds distraction, just like for you or I. If we were to fly in an airplane, over the country, you can see, several states, in your mirror, or I'm sorry, several states in your window, and it just adds to the distraction level of trying to, fine tune your way through to a street or even a highway through the window. So for a dog with their nose in the air and the wind blowing on them, to me, it's kind of that dynamic. As a human being, maybe you can appreciate, that analogy with the airplane. So here we have a walker. You can kind of see him coming, and certainly Hazel can see him coming. And we're just trying to see, can we get her to hold her sit position? And there she broke. Can she hold her sit position and just let that thing walk past? And there you see Topanga doing one of our favorite techniques. We call it peekaboo training, where we use our body to block Hazel's vision. And she'll do it again here, get her back in that sit position, trying to use her body to block her vision. Hazel's very distracted by this dog, and this dog's very distracted by Hazel. It was kind of the perfect storm there. And there's times that you want to visit, but there are times that you're trying to train, and that dog was barking at her and Hazel was barking back, and really that's not the time for a visit. So if dogs are calmer and less, anxious, that's a better time to visit. Here's really the best time just to get her to focus on us and let her, ignore that distraction of that dog going by. Now I've got her, and I'm again working that heel command. You'll notice I'm making quick little sharp corrections on that prong collar, trying to keep her right paw falling in line with my left leg. And I think maybe here's where the jogger comes, or shortly from here. It's wind blowing just like crazy. It's noisy. It's cold, but I don't think the cold bothers the dog so much as it bothers the dog trainers. But it's just one of those days that we're trying to, work her through. And I see a dog up ahead. I still don't see this jogger. I know there's a jogger in this video, but I'm just trying to voice over from, the terrible audio we had with all the wind and everything, trying to, talk to you as we were filming. It just wasn't going to work out. So into a nice sit position, back to the heel. Yeah, nice. You tell by her little nub, her little tail, wagging there. She's having a really good time. Even though she's trying to, be good, she's also having fun. And I like the combination there. Back in that sit position. Good, pretty dog. That's a good dog. Keeping that head up. During the heel command, they're not supposed to even sniff the ground. So you'll notice that when she was lowering her head, I was popping up, and there goes our jogger. I knew he was coming at some point.